This single glass of milk changed his entire life. A weary, starving young boy walked slowly down the dusty road. In his hand, he clutched just a single 10-cent coin. He hadn't eaten a single bite since early morning. Finally, he decided to ask a stranger for something small to eat. Arriving in front of a quiet house, he hesitated for a long moment. Taking a deep breath, he raised his hand and knocked on the door. The door gently opened, revealing a young girl with a remarkably kind face. She turned out to be far gentler than he had ever imagined. Overwhelmed by shyness, the boy lowered his gaze to the ground. Losing his courage, the words to ask for food vanished from his lips. Gathering his remaining strength, he simply asked for a glass of water instead. Yet, looking closely at his pale face and exhausted expression, she understood the truth. Inside the kitchen, she bypassed the water and poured a large, fresh glass of milk. Though he only asked for water, she generously brought him a full glass of milk. The boy stared at the milk in utter astonishment. With both hands trembling slightly, he held the glass and began to drink. He drank every single drop, savoring every moment. The young girl watched him with a warm, gentle smile. Color returned to his cheeks, and deep gratitude filled his eyes. That single glass of milk did more than fill his empty stomach. It refilled the fading hope deep inside his heart. The boy reached into his pocket, pulling out his 10-cent coin to offer payment. With a soft smile, the girl gently waved her hand in refusal. "You don't need to pay anything," she told him. "My mother taught me never to accept payment for an act of kindness." The boy nodded earnestly, his voice filled with emotion. "Then I thank you from the very bottom of my heart." As he stepped away from that house, something inside him had fundamentally changed. New strength and renewed hope shone brightly on his face. He believed once again that true goodness still existed in the world. For before that very day, he had been ready to give up on everything. But one simple glass of milk reminded him that good people are out there. The years between years passed by, one after another, driven by the belief that he should grow strong enough to return such grace. He worked harder than ever. That once hopeless boy eventually grew up to become Dr. Howard Kelly. Yet, through all the years, he never forgot the woman who changed his world. Many years later, that same woman fell gravely ill. Local doctors tried everything in their power, but her disease proved too complex. At last, she was transferred to a large hospital in the city. Because her rare condition baffled local physicians, medical specialists from across the city were called in for a consultation. As fate would have it, among those consulting specialists was Dr. Howard Kelly. Dr. Kelly reviewed the patient's name and background details on the medical chart. Suddenly, a distant memory flashed vividly inside his mind. The location name listed on the chart was the very place that had once saved his life. Could this be the woman he had longed to find for all these years? Without a moment's hesitation, he stood up. Dr. Kelly strode rapidly down the hospital corridor. Reaching her door, he took a deep breath and turned the handle. As the door swung open and he looked upon her face, he recognized her instantly. Clutching the medical chart firmly, Dr. Kelly made a resolute vow. "I will save this patient with every ounce of my strength." From that day forward, her medical care received his utmost dedication. Days and nights passed in a relentless battle of treatments. At last, her condition began to turn around for the better. Her life was saved. Though she had triumphed over death, the shadow of the massive hospital bill weighed heavily on her mind. A thick medical invoice was finally delivered to her bedside table. She feared the cost would consume every remaining coin she had for the rest of her life. Trembling, she closed her eyes and slowly opened the bill. Yet, written across the invoice was something she never could have expected. Her eyes caught more than just a numerical balance. At the bottom of the page, a handwritten note had been carefully penned. Paid in full with a glass of milk, signed simply, Dr. Howard Kelly. Reading those words, the rushing tide of the past swept back over her. The memory of a hungry young boy and a simple glass of milk returned clear as day. Though many years had flown by, she had never forgotten that small gesture. Tears of pure joy streamed silently down her face. She could hardly believe what her eyes were seeing. To her, it had only been a tiny act of kindness on an ordinary day. Yet the seed of compassion she planted long ago had finally traveled back to find her. Clasping her hands together, she closed her eyes and offered a tearful prayer. Oh God, may your boundless love continue to spread across this world through the hands and hearts of ordinary people. A genuine act of kindness you share will never truly vanish. Someday, when you least expect it, it will find its way back to you.
Paid in full with a glass of milk, written in ink like a tender silk.